Hi everyone! Today's video is going to be about overrated beauty products, in my books. Obviously everybody has very differing opinions on this stuff, but this is some stuff over time I'm just like, I don't know why people love this stuff so much. I'm gonna kick this off with something that I finally purchased after years and years of hearing people rave on and on about the Shiseido cotton pads. I feel like I've been hearing about these darn things for like, I don't know, 10 years, something like that. Everyone's like, oh, they're so luxurious, they're so soft, they remove your makeup so much better. Yeah, well, they don't, and the cost is so ridiculous in comparison to all the other cotton rounds out there. So I picked these up, I don't know, a month or two ago. I don't have the packaging anymore, so that's why I'm just holding up the clean pads. I picked these up, and I think it was 12 bucks for maybe 100. It could have been 80. I don't really know. And generally when I'm picking up cotton rounds, I'll buy like Joe Fresh or the Quo brand. Honestly, I get whatever is on sale because I just don't care that much. And the Quo or Joe Fresh ones are usually around like $3, and maybe I can get them for like $2.50. So one time I was like, no, like just try them out, see if they're that much better. I mean, they're not really. So why the heck do people love these things so much? They feel nicer, granted, that's a really luxurious feeling, but on the face, I assure you that I feel zero difference. It definitely doesn't remove my makeup any better. That's really dependent on the makeup remover or the oil that I'd be using, definitely not these things. And I honestly just feel bad when I'm using these because they were so expensive. I initially put them in like my container in the bathroom, was like, okay, you're only going to use it for like really heavy eye makeup, because I thought that I was saving it for something special. And then I was like, this is ridiculous. You're not gonna use like your bad cotton rounds, bad ones, for less heavy makeup and these ones for full makeup. So I was just like, this is stupid. So I just started using them every single day for toner or for makeup remover. And honestly, I don't notice a difference. There is nothing special about these things aside from the fact that they're cut in like squares as opposed to circles. Well, I guess a rectangle. And they're squishier. But on my face, they perform identically, and they were like exponentially more expensive for no good reason. So, I mean, I'm happy to say that I've tried them out once now, and I can say that I will never purchase these again, but like, really, what is everybody talking about? Okay, so the next product is not necessarily something that I dislike, but I just don't understand why people are so obsessed with this thing. It's the Thayer's Witch Hazel toner. I have the rose petal one, and I've gone through like a full lavender one. I think I have an unscented, and there's a cucumber one as well. So I've posted a blog post on these. I enjoy them as a toner. I think they work nicely to just sort of clean up my face before, after my shower and before I start putting like moisturizer and all that stuff on it. But I can't figure out why people are so bananas about this thing. When I posted about Thayer's coming to certain retailers in Canada on Instagram stories, the number of messages that I got from people who wanted to know when and where exactly they were going to be available was unreal. Because in general, most people don't message me about product that's coming out really. So for me to get like 20 to 30 messages just about this toner becoming readily available in Canada, I was like, whoa, this must be something special. So the brand sent me, I think, all 4 of their toners for me to try out, and I did enjoy them. But it's also not miraculous. Like, it's a toner and it does its job, but I didn't see anything drastically different about my face. So to this day, I still can't figure out why people are so obsessed with it. Initially, I had thought that it was just the fact that it was only available in the US and hadn't really become readily accessible in Canada. But I had people telling me like their cousins love this stuff, that their mother loved this stuff, and I was just like, okay, great, but like, why? And I still don't get it. So, I mean, I'm glad they're enjoying it so much, but I didn't see anything that special about it. Okay, the next one is a product that I'm using up, but I don't really like it. And it's just because nothing compares to the Bioderma Sensibio H2O Micelle solution. So the one I'm talking about right now is the Nivea Micellar Skin Breathe Micellar Water. This is the normal skin one, and I've gone through a full bottle of, I don't know if it was dry or if it was an oily skin one. So the reason I don't really enjoy this stuff that much is the fact that it kind of like burns my eyes. and that's not a great sensation. I use micellar waters to remove extra fallout if it's fallen down here, which will not burn my eyes when I'm doing that, like just in this area. But I also use it to like clean up after I've used an oil-based cleanser. And when I rub this stuff over my eyes with a cotton round, like it's not a good sensation. And it's not really aggravating my eyes because I don't get bloodshot eyes. I don't look puffy or infected afterwards. It's just a very brief kind of burning sensation. So that makes me not love it. But also if I'm cleaning up under eye fallout, I feel like this stuff just smears it around. It doesn't really remove it. It just sort of like moves it from place to place on the underside of my eye. And I went through, I think it was about 50% of the bottle before I finally realized that this was what was causing that. I thought maybe it was sticking to like my moisturizer or something. But when I switched back to my Bioderma one and it was easily removing everything, I was like, okay, this Nivea stuff is not for me. And people rave about this stuff, and not just the Nivea one, but they also rave about like the Garnier Micellar Solution, is it L'Oreal that has one as well? I just don't love them. I just feel like they cause that sort of moving around thing on my face when I'm cleaning up, and they just don't perform as well as the Bioderma one, which is why I've become so brand loyal to Bioderma for their micellar solution, because everything else I have used pales in comparison. And people go on and on about the other micellar solutions, and I can't figure it out because for me, they just do not perform very well. And I will happily pay the more expensive price tag for the Bioderma one because I know it works and it doesn't burn my eyes. But people continue to tell me about how amazing all the knockoff brands are, and I'm just like, they are not for me. So I'm finishing this up. I'll use this to like remove swatches on my arm, or like, geez, I don't know really what else, but I do use it occasionally, and I will finish it up because I just don't like wasting product. But I would never purchase this. This was sent to me in PR, but Bioderma the whole way, like this one's a no. Okay, next, these facial scrub brushes. I don't even know what you want to call these things. This is not the Clarisonic, it's the knockoff Mary Kay one, but I have to believe that they all basically perform the same way, and I just do not understand the hype over these things. Like, does a face cloth not work? Do your fingers not work to wash your face? I do not understand why people rave about these things so much. If anything, I find this a little bit more abrasive on my face than just using my fingers or a washcloth, and it's not a good feeling either. I don't really have skin issues, so maybe there's something to be said for that, and if you have skin issues, you prefer using a brush, but like brush head thing, whatever you want to call this. But I don't get it. And everybody raved about the Clarisonic for years and years and years, and I was always kind of curious, but at the same time I was like, I'm not gonna pay the, what is it, $100, $200 for a facial cleansing brush thing. And I was given this one by Mary Kay several months ago now, and I gave it a shot, and I use it every now and then, but I just don't get it. Like, why do people care about these things so much? I find them kind of irritating to use because they just, I don't know, like they're always dripping water everywhere and it doesn't seem to do anything really important to my face. So, I mean, somebody in the comments I'm sure is gonna say, well, you need to try the Clarisonic one because it's the best. Well, I'm not going to. I don't think this one is that impressive, and I'm perfectly content just using my hands to wash my face. Okay, the last thing I'm gonna talk about is gonna be kind of controversial because I have talked about how much I love these before, but I am no longer on the bandwagon. The Real Techniques Miracle Complexion Sponges. Okay, so I got a few thoughts on these. Number one, I feel like these have really changed over the years. When I was buying these when they first came out, they would last forever. They would clean really well, and they apply by foundation beautifully, but they just recently do not seem to have any kind of longevity. When I wash them now, they're very likely to tear and have holes and be a little bit more porous than they used to be. So I feel like they've done something different to the formula of the sponges because I just can't get these to last like 6 months like I used to. So that's incredibly frustrating because although I like the effect of how my foundation goes on when I use these, I just don't want to buy them anymore because I have to replace them all the time. And the second factor here is now that I've used a real beauty blender and I've realized just how long that thing can last, I feel like these are way overhyped because although they're inexpensive in comparison to a beauty blender, the rate at which I go through these is so much faster than a beauty blender. And even though the beauty blender is like, I don't know, 25 bucks, is that right, Canadian? And these are probably, I mean, they might be 12 in Canada, but you can usually buy them in like a deal pack like I have here for a much better price. So let's say that the Real Technique sponge is half the cost of the beauty blender, roughly. These just don't last. The beauty blender that I'm using right now is like over a year old and it's still going strong. It has no tears in it. The product cleans out of it no problem, but the Real Technique sponges that I have used in the meantime, every now and then, have torn. And I just don't get it because they never used to. So I can't help but feel that these are completely overrated and overpriced because my beauty blender that, let's say, is double the price of one of these, it will way outlast one of these guys by like years even. So yeah, I know people like these because they were cheap, but now they're feeling like they're cheap in quality and I can't recommend that, and these feel so overhyped at this point. And I mean, I know I'm part of the problem because I was raving about them for years and years and I was completely against beauty blenders because I thought that they were pointless to buy because they were so expensive and they're just a sponge. But now I feel like Beauty Blender is the superior product and I will never purchase these again just based on the simple fact that they tear so easily now. So that's my take on some overrated products in my opinion. Let me know if you agree or disagree, or if there's anything in here that you really love, please tell me why. Because a lot of these I can't figure it out. Thanks so much for joining me today and I will see you next time. Bye.